Hi guys, it's Shireen. Um, so for today's video, I wanted to talk about something that I am currently struggling with, and that is the side effects of taking medication for your mental illness. Now, before I start this video, I just want to say I'm not saying that you need to, or that this is the only option to manage your mental illness. It's just something that I choose to do. I choose to take medication, and I also every now and then go to therapy sessions. So that's my form of way of managing my depression, my anxiety, my panic attacks, and my insomnia. Wow, that is a lot. Now that I'm saying that out loud, wow. I guess I can tell you guys a little bit about my history on medication, because the one that I'm currently taking is my third medicine throughout my whole mental health journey. Since I was about 18, 19 years old, I've been on 3 types of medicine. I guess I can tell you a little bit about my history. So when I was first diagnosed with depression, I was put on Zoloft, and it was actually good. Like, Zoloft worked pretty well with me, and I didn't have any side effects whatsoever. The only problem that I had, and it wasn't with the actual medicine Zoloft, it was just with me. I wasn't taking my medication really seriously, and I mean that for Zoloft, it takes a couple weeks for it to really get into your system and for the medication to work. So I would go on Zoloft for about 3-4 weeks, and I would feel so much better, and my mood would be better, and it seemed like I was having less depressive episodes. And then because of that, I would stop taking the Zoloft, and then literally within a week or two after I stopped taking it, I would go down this really depressive episode. And I did that for like maybe a year on Zoloft. I would use it for 4 weeks, stop, realize that I would be depressed again, and then take it again for another 4 weeks, and it was just a repeated cycle that I did. And I know I'm not the only one who does that. I actually, a while back ago, Anna Campbell actually mentioned that she did that before. I think it was Anna Campbell, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe she said that she did the same thing, where she would go on cycles of taking it, stop taking it, and then taking it again. So when my doctor finally found out what I was doing, she was like, you need to stop. Like, for this medication to work, you have to take it consistently. So I started taking it consistently, but then I started having other issues happening. My anxiety was through the roof, and I've always been an anxious person, but this anxiety, it was just constant, and I would have anxiety attacks where it was just like it's hard to explain. It's like an over body experience of just being anxious all the time. And I also, because of that, but not only because of that, but I had trouble falling asleep, and I would sleep for maybe 2-3 hours a night for like a month. I wouldn't sleep. When you don't get your sleep, you start being a little irritable and cranky, like you need your sleep. So I told my doctor about my anxiety and how I'm not, sleeping a lot. So she decided to switch me off of Zoloft, which I kind of grew to love, and I was afraid to switch my medication. And I'm not sure if this is with everyone with anxiety, but I know for me, taking new medication makes me anxious. It just, because you're so comfortable with the medication that worked for you. Especially with me, I took it for maybe, I believe it was like a year and a half that I took Zoloft. And of course, like that first year, I was taking it on and off, but when I took it, it worked and I had no side effects. And for that last 6 months, it was perfect for me. I had no side effects and I was managing my depression. So to get switched from something that I was comfortable with and to something that I have no idea what would do to my body, I started having anxiety attacks. So the new medication was Doxepin. And if you guys don't know what that is, it works for depression, anxiety, and insomnia, from what my doctor told me. Let me tell you, that first night that I had to take, when I had to stop taking Zoloft and first take the Doxepin, I was so nervous. I was anxious for maybe 2 days before, and then the day when it came, I was just like, gosh, I gotta take this new medication tonight. I don't know what it's gonna do. And my heart, it was literally pounding. And that's really what anxiety does to you. And I was like, I don't know how this is going to react to my body, because one medication may work for you, but another medication may not. And that's just because of the chemistry in your body mixing with the chemistry in the pill. Let me tell you, when I first took Doxepin, I am so glad that it knocked my ass out. It made me drowsy and I fell asleep, and that was probably a good thing, because I probably would have stayed up wearing just kind of standing there like, what is it gonna do? Is my heart beating fast? Is this because of the medication? What's gonna happen? So I'm glad that the Doxepin knocked me out, and my doctor said that was normal. It made me drowsy the first 2 nights, and then after that my body kind of got used to it, and again I had no side effects. Now, I was on Doxepin for a long time. It was probably a year and a half to 2 years, and it worked wonders for me. It helped with my insomnia. I now sleep better at night, and my moods are balanced, and my anxiety is good. And then a little friend called Panic decided to come on in. I had my first panic attack, and it was the most frightening thing that I've ever experienced. If you guys have ever experienced a panic attack, you know what I am saying when you're frightening. You feel like you're having a heart attack, and it feels like you're going to die. It feels like you're dying, and it's the most terrifying thing. But I'm thankful that I am a psychology student, and I don't know, something made me think back into the textbooks, because I'm like, wait a minute, all these symptoms that I'm experiencing, there's something that I read. So I actually took out my psychology textbook, and no, I don't recommend this. I know every psych professor says don't self-diagnose, that's the worst thing you can do. So all I did was take out my textbook, and I went to what I thought it was, like a panic attack, and all the symptoms was there. But at the same time, and that kind of calmed me down, to be honest with you. It stopped me from going to the hospital, because when I first got my panic attack, I was like, I'm dying and I need to go to the hospital ASAP. I was going to call 911. I was going to get my mom to drive me to the hospital. But once I had that thought in my head, wait a minute, this is something that I know, and I went to the textbook and all the symptoms were there, that calmed me down, because that made me feel like, okay, you're not dying, you're okay. And literally after I read the symptoms, my panic attacks subside, and I recovered from it. But I repeatedly kept having panic attacks for maybe a week, several times a day after that. And I was like, I need to go to the doctor. This is like ridiculous. And so I went to the doctor. And so she decided to up my medication on my Doxypen. And so I was like, sure, cool, that's okay. It was a few months after she upped my dosage, and my panic attacks were still there, and nothing was working. And by this time, I actually switched doctors, and so this new doctor, I explained all my symptoms, and you know, she knows my past history, and I explained a little bit myself. And so she decided that it would be better for me to switch medication. Here we go again with my anxiety, like going through the roof. What? Doxypen's been so good to me. Like, how can I switch? I'm gonna be anxious. Like, all my anxiety in my head. This past April, I think it was the end of April, early May, I switched from Doxypen to Effexor. And at first it was good. Like, my panic attacks were less, and I was never really anxious, and my depression was balanced. You know, normally doctors like to start you at the lowest dose, and then if you need to up it, they'll up it with how you're feeling. So a few weeks passed by, and I gave enough time for the medication to get into my system. And I was still like, although my panic attacks were less, I was still getting panic attacks. So I was just like, I need to like up the dosage. And at the time I was in therapy, so I was working with, you know, my issues with anxiety and depression while on medication. But my doctor said, okay, I'll up your dosage. So she ups my dosage, and everything was okay. But then I started noticing that I've been getting bad headaches, like really bad headaches. And I go to the doctor, and she says, let's cut back your medication and let's see if the headaches go away. So she cuts back my medication, and the headaches do go away a little bit. And she's like, let's just keep you on this medication. And my panic attacks started increasing. So right now I am stuck between, I actually up my dosage myself, and I know I don't recommend that, but I know what my body can take, and she already upped my dosage to what I'm taking right now. She only cut it in half because I said my headaches were increasing. But I'm to the point where I feel like I need to choose between headaches and panic attacks. And right now I am definitely choosing headaches. I can cure my headaches with, you know, Aleve, but my panic attacks I don't want to get. And I'm not really sure why I'm like making this video. I just kind of wanted to share my experience with side effects with medication. But I guess I also want to get other suggestions of what I can do if you guys have anything. I'm looking into CBD oil to cure my anxiety. I mean, I really, like I said, I'm not trying to say that medication's the only way, but for me, for right now, it is. But I don't want to be on medication for the rest of my life. I want to be able to control my anxiety and control my panic attacks and control my depression without chemicals, at least man-made chemicals. And so I'm looking for other suggestions. I'm up to anything. Right now I'm, like I said, looking into CBD oil, and I'm actually really looking into that, so that could be something that I'm gonna buy in the near future. And if I buy it, maybe I'll do like a review on it, on how it's either helping me or not. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Sorry that this is kind of like a downer video, especially with my past videos being really like uplifting, but this is life, and this is something that I'm going through now, and this is something that I'm struggling, and it's really affecting me. So yeah, I'm up for suggestions, and just share your experiences with different medications. And I'm sorry that the light went down. I'm using natural light right now. The sun kind of disappeared on me right there. He was like, "You're talking too depressed for me, I gotta go." Let me know your thoughts and experiences and give me suggestions. I would love to know, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.